We love doing news live so much. We're just going to keep on doing it that way. It is so exciting. Hi, everybody. And I see Nancy's here from Ottawa. Chris Wright's here, also in Canada somewhere, I believe. Bonzo Kilborn was first with a greeting. Hello. Good to see you. Greetings to one and all. So much is happening. Before I forget, if you've not subscribed to my newsletter yet, I'd love to have you do that. ChristyLemire.com. You can do that. There's a button that says subscribe here. A lot of things we talk about here in news are included there, but also goodies that you don't get in other parts of the world. Personalized private goodies in my newsletter.
Nice.
So come and hang out. Hey, Brent, great to see you. We love having you here. One of our favorite critic friends, Brent Luthold, and also a channel member. Good to see you. Skate Alex, Christine in Toronto. All of Canada is here. Dylan in Vancouver. Hi, Tom. Pleased to see you. Temo Rivera, nuestro amigo en Mexico. Temo Rivera. Está aquí otra vez. John McVeigh, another channel member. Great to see you. Matt Larry, always a favorite, Larry. Hi, everybody. Dylan says, OMG, they are shooting The Last of Us Season 2 here in Vancouver. Ooh. Oh my gosh, you got to get on set and come get the scoop. Find out for us who Catherine O'Hara is going to be in The Last of Us Season 2.
Is everybody in Vancouver as jaded about production as people in Los Angeles? It's just like, ugh, these trucks are in my way.
I still think when they're over here at the beach, I'm like, hey guys, what are you shooting? Like it's my first time. Hi, Angel, great to see you. Hi, Stephen in Newark. Hello, John. Hello, It Can Be. Hi, friends. So Super Bowl is this weekend here in the US and across the planet. Do you guys care? Will you watch? It is the Chiefs and the Niners. I don't care. I like to go to a friend's house and eat and drink things and watch the ads and chat. Do you care?
I will be making the traditional Rotel dip. So, I'm not a complete heathen when it comes to the Super Bowl, but yeah, generally I don't really care either. But this Super Bowl is going to be fun for all of the conniptions about Taylor Swift.
Yes.
For all of the right-wing lunatics who are convinced that it's all this shadowy thing that, the fix is in so that they can promote Biden and vaccinations and blah, okay, whatever. It's a sports thing. Calm down.
I'm excited for her to parachute into the 50-yard line at halftime in the middle of Usher's show to endorse Biden, because that's what's going to happen, and get vaccinated live on air. It's going to be big. I'm excited about that. That's what your Rotel dip is
ratings juggernaut.
For that moment right there. Hey, Christine, thanks so much for your kind donation. You are bringing up a point that we were going to get to, and I'm so happy you mentioned it. Now is a good time to do that. Christine points out, have you heard that Zaslav and Warner Brothers may be shelving the Wile E. Coyote versus Acme movie? May an anvil fall on his head. It sounded delightful. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Alonso, will you tell us about this big story that's out there today about this?
Yeah, a big piece in the Wrap ran where basically a few months ago it sounded like, oh, great, they're going to offer it to other places. And even if Warner Brothers is going to release it, then maybe, Netflix or Paramount Plus would pick it up. But apparently this has all been a smoke show that Warner Brothers basically wants the money that they want, and they aren't negotiating, and they aren't keeping the filmmakers in the loop about the deals that they aren't making. So we have the ticking clock of the quarterly shareholders meeting coming up later in February, and it's looking, for all intents and purposes, like they're just going to write it off. And any attempts we tried to sell it is just a way to sort of keep, creatives and fans from, burning down the water tower. So yeah, this just sounds like it was a shitty situation that seemed like it was going to have a silver lining or a light at the end of the tunnel, but no, it's all tunnel. So
yeah, it's all product, right? It's not about creativity. It's not about art, which I realize makes me sound very naive, that it's all about product and profit. But that is it's disheartening that, they had screenings of this, that some of the top executives hadn't even seen it, like Zaslav himself hadn't even seen it before making these decisions.
So yeah, and lately they've been trumpeting, oh, we're making a movie with Paul Thomas Anderson and stuff, and it's like, well, that's great, and I'm sure his contract is very ironclad about Warner Brothers' commitment to actually releasing the finished film, and other filmmakers, I guess, are not getting that kind of carte blanche. But I don't see how anybody would ever sign a contract with Warner Brothers moving forward without having it very explicitly spelled out in their contract that you are putting this movie out and not just dumping it off as a tax write-off. And obviously, I'm sure there are probably laws in the tax code that need to be changed to prevent companies from doing this kind of thing. But I mean, this is a whole next level of gross finance people who don't understand or care about art taking over a movie studio and making these just recklessly terrible decisions.
Yeah. It's disheartening. Yeah. This
Yeah.
was supposed to be a live action animation hybrid starring Will Forte. One of the people quoted in this story in the wrap is Paul Scheer, who I guess went to a friends and family screening and had good things to say. So it's a bummer.
All the audience response on these screenings they've had have been overwhelming. Like with Batgirl, they had the fig leaf of, oh well, it didn't test well, but that is clearly not the case with Coyote versus Acme.
Right. A few things I want to mention. John Kaufman says, haven't chatted here before, but have enjoyed your reviews for a long time. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. David says, woohoo, hurrah, the sun's out in Kansas. John McVeigh says, go Chiefs. Obie Sanders says, go Niners. Matthew is also a Niners fan. So we
are Switzerland.
Yeah, I don't really care that much. Yeah, Bonzo points out Zaslav ain't here to make friends. No, I guess his point is he's got to save money, but he's making shitty decisions. John Kaufman wants to know, what is Rotel dip?
Glad you asked. So Rotel is a canned like tomato and peppers mix, very popular in the Southwest, but you can get it pretty much anywhere. And you basically take 1 can of that and 1 pound of melted Velveeta, mix them together, and you have Rotel dip. I am also adding chorizo, but I'm fancy that way.
That's bold, right? Cheese and meat all together with the spicy stuff. Mm-hmm. And what do you do like tortilla chips?
Tostito scoops.
Our friend Ed Looney says, I didn't know who was playing until Christy just told me, and I've already forgotten. That's the Chiefs and the Niners. Basically, if you wear red, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like Taylor Swift's boyfriend and the other guys,
Yes. Yes, John McVeigh says, my cousin is the Rams head coach. Really?
Wow.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. That's really cool. You are that McVeigh. Oh, wow. Sean McVeigh. That's cool. Interesting. Hi.
I'd never have known that, but okay, very cool.
There you go. Obi says Rotel dip, Velveeta and chorizo equals magic. Yes. Lynn Hart can attest to the deliciousness of Rotel dip. And how is this different from queso? Or is it?
It is. It's probably lazy queso. I'm sure like really good queso is much more involved, but this is like, quick and to the point. Yes. It's the one time of year that I seek out Velveeta in the grocery store.
Okay. I don't think you need to have an excuse. I think any time is the right time. So Marty, hello, our friend Marty, a good friend and channel member Marty says, good game. That's what we want. Yes, I hope so too. So that is a thing that we wanted to talk about. We also want to talk about Gina Carano suing Disney and LucasFilm with Elon Musk's financial help over being fired.
His history of throwing good money after bad continues apace. Somebody on Blue Sky had a really funny thing. They were comparing the Gina Carano lawsuit that he's backing with Elon Musk apparently firing a Twitter executive for telling him why his tweets were getting such low engagement. So clearly his idea of who needs to lose their job and who doesn't is, fractured at best.
Yes. So let's remind folks, what is it that Gina Carano did to get fired from The Mandalorian?
Like anti-Semitic tweets, I want to say. I don't really remember now, but it was something along those lines, right?
Yeah. Some right-wing stuff. There might have been some racist stuff. There might have also been some like anti-COVID-y stuff. I want to say maybe. So
Grand Slam.
Yeah, all not good. But if you guys remember, let us know. But she is suing with Elon Musk's help because, of course, Elon Musk has this very petty pissing match going with Bob Iger.
Yes, and he's a free speech defender.
Yeah. Benjamin says, I hated her character anyway, says Benjamin. Yes. And Mayor of Earth says courts are going to throw that shit out. Gina's complaint actually includes random tweets.
Well, one of the things that I saw somebody pointed out that was within her complaint was that there was some tweet with like Ernie and Bert holding up like, protect trans lives and, whatever kind of stuff. And she's like, well, Disney owned Muppets or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, actually Disney doesn't own Ernie and Bert. That's a separate category of Muppet that is not theirs. So this is, your lawyers need to do better.
Yes, Brent points out, thank you for remembering this detail, Brent Luthold. He says, my understanding is that Gina is suing to be recast in The Mandalorian.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. And Teddy, yeah, you're right. She was good in Haywire, Steven Soderbergh's Haywire. That was, and even though her voice was dubbed, yeah, I thought she was pretty good in that as well. But yeah, I think when you become toxic for your brand, you know, or you're doing things that are contradictory to what maybe the contract is as far as how you're going to represent yourself out in the world, then they have the right to terminate your employee there.
Yeah, I mean, there have always been these sort of like, there used to be like morality clauses were a big thing. And I'm sure now there's a thing of like, hey, don't show your ass on social media, or like there will be consequences.
Yeah. Speaking of Taylor Swift and the Super Bowl, and Disney Plus for that matter, there's going to be a fuller version of the Eras Tour movie. It is Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, Taylor's version, in parentheses, of course. Yes. It's going to include 4 more songs, including Cardigan, which I'm excited about because that's maybe my favorite song by her. And she did not have that in the original concert film. So if you want to see that, it'll be streaming on Disney Plus starting on March 15th.
Yeah, if someone will post the time codes of where the new songs are, I will fast forward through and watch them.
Oh, well, let's think about this. Cardigan would be in the Evermore folklore era of it's on folklore. So why do I know that?
Look, Dave hasn't seen it yet, so I imagine he'll probably sit and watch the whole thing. So I'll just peek in occasionally and see if it's a song I haven't heard before or not.
When you see the cabin, the moss-covered cabin, that is pretty much when it's going to be, because that's the folklore cabin.
But there's 3 more, right? Like, aren't there 4 songs that got cut?
Oh, right. Yes, that's true. They're acoustic songs. So when you see her with a guitar.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. Brent says Taylor sold the Eras Tour Disney Plus for $75 million.
Yes, but remember, she's only with Travis Kelce to get his money.
Yeah, it's all manufactured.
Oy.
Yeah. Bunch of other things to talk about here. Someone asked about, will there be any new trailers during the Super Bowl ads? I'm sure there will be, one of which I know is the one for A Quiet Place Day 1.
Yes. They were sending us that this morning, like, ooh, the big game teaser or whatever. But yeah, I'm sure there will be plenty of those.
Yes. Have you guys seen the trailer for A Quiet Place Day 1? Is that interesting to you? That comes out this summer on June 28th. Also, Super Bowl related, they're going to air the new episode of True Detective, Night Country, tonight on HBO. So Friday night, so as not to conflict with Sunday with the show.
Yeah. A not uncommon practice, especially for like HBO and Showtime, like the big Sunday shows. They just don't want to get lost in the morass of Super Bowl stuff. So yeah, if you are a True Detective fan, you get an early peek.
Are you guys watching True Detective Night Country? We are recapping it on our Patreon and really liking it. Yeah. It's really trippy, and Jodie Foster's great in it, of course.
And Callie Reese.
So good. For sure. A couple of folks I want to say hi to. Dib says hi from the Philippines. Hello to you in the Philippines. And Ayad El Masri says, love your commentary. Since watching Lifetime's The Movies docuseries, would you see the industry embracing more of such productions? Love from Lebanon. Hello to you in Lebanon. I'm wondering whether the Movies docuseries you're talking about is the one where it was like every decade.
The one that the CNN produced and maybe aired on other channels and other countries.
It aired in the U.S. on CNN, and it was Tom Hanks and Gary Getzman's production company that did that. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And you and I are on a bunch of different episodes, and it's kind of like cramming for a final exam, because they tell you, okay, well, I want to talk to you about these movies from like the 80s, which you think, oh, of course, this is my childhood. I know it like the back of my hand, but really you've got to like study so that you have recall in the moment of what they want to ask you about. So.
And that same company did another one that I was privileged to be part of called 'Tis the Season. That's all about Christmas movies. And so, that was my moment. It was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. David Leman, thank you very, very much for that. He says, Gina Carano didn't say anything racist or anti-Semitic. She was only compared persecution of conservative views in Hollywood to Jews in the Holocaust.
That was it.
Okay. But he says that's technically fair and accurate. That is not a conversation that I don't think I want to get into right now.
Yeah, pass.
But we appreciate your donation. That's very generous of you. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think in general, anything that's going to be that kind of inflammatory, when you are part of a brand that is trying to be as mainstream as possible, I don't know that it's that wise.
Yeah, I think this is why a lot of celebrities have, digital media specialists who basically like, if you want to tweet something, you got to run it through this team first, and maybe they'll be like, yeah, maybe not.
Hello to our friend Matthew Burge. He is here. Says, sorry, I am late, guys. I will watch back when you finish. Hello. Good to see you in any capacity. And Ski Alex says, I feel like True Detective has lacked depth to the story so far, though I enjoy the setting.
Yeah, disagree.
I disagree as well. And Angel says, what do you guys think of? Yes, thank you, Angel, for bringing us to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is that the Oscars have added this casting category.
Yes. Very cool. The Spirit Awards for years has had the Robert Altman Award, which is an award they present to an ensemble, but that award also goes to the film's director and the film's casting director. So yeah, I think they are invaluable to the process and do great work. And we've always said there should be a stunt category. I think a casting category is also great. And I know there's always thinking like, oh, but the show is already so long. But I don't know that means that we shouldn't be paying attention to the hard work of craftspeople who whose work directly results in making movies better.
For sure. I am in the middle of listening to, and I recommend it very highly, the latest A24 podcast episode is a conversation between Celine Song and Sofia Coppola.
I saw that I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
It's very long. I'm only in the first 20 minutes or so. So when I get back in my car again, I'll listen to more of it. But one thing they're talking about is casting and how, things fall through, actors fall through, and then the right person comes in and you realize, oh, it should have been them all along. So it sort of speaks to the importance of, picking the right people for these parts. And so I think casting is essential for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is a genuine art form.
Yeah. Hi, CNA, says Rob. Hi, R. Connor, I don't know how to say your thing. I think you changed your YouTube handle. CNRDZS. I think you had a different one before. It says True Detective is so Lynchian this season. Yes, for sure. I agree. It is very trippy.
I guess. I mean, is everything, does it become Lynchian if it's, I don't know that he necessarily owns this entire style of storytelling. I just saw something else that had a cluster of people who had kind of frozen in horror, and it made me think of True Detective, and now I'm forgetting what it was.
Oh.
And I also heard the Billie Eilish song in the trailer for Madam Web. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Bury a Friend is in that as well. We'll have a review of Madam Web next week. We are seeing it on Monday morning on the Sony lot. So we'll have a review of that.
No, not anymore.
Oh, right. They moved it to the Grove. Yes. But it's at 11 o'clock in the morning, so maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, for me, the Grove's right down the street. So
I used to be able to ride my bike to the Grove. No longer. So that, yes, thank you for bringing up casting. And a lot of folks are mentioning in the comments that stunts should be there as well. And I agree.
No question.
When you look at a John Wick movie, for example. Also on our Patreon these days, we are talking about Feud, Capote versus the Swans. Are any of you guys watching that show? That has been a whole lot of fun for us. This week in particular is really cool. It's like a black and white kind of fake documentary of his big masquerade ball. So
yeah, very cool.
If you were looking for great clothes and bitchiness.
and Tom Hollander's Capote is really well done. That's a role I think it'd be very easy to sort of lapse into caricature, but he's really creating a character there.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I'm going to touch on briefly, just to be on record with it, is that Kevin Spacey has to pay $1 million to settle claims of sexual harassment on the set of House of Cards. Just want to say that. More things I want to say just to be on record. Toby Keith died.
Yes.
Of stomach cancer at age 62.
Yes. And so did Mojo Nixon of a heart attack
Yes.
at 66. I actually saw him live once in the 80s.
You did where?
At the Exit Inn in Nashville. It was Mojo Nixon and Skid Roper during their probably apex of fame when Elvis is Everywhere and Stuffin' Martha's Muffin were big college radio hits.
Yes. When the Michael J. Fox documentary came out recently, I kept thinking of like, Michael J. Fox has no Elvis in him.
Yes. Well, Michael J. Fox got the last laugh, I guess, because he's still alive.
Nancy's watching Feud, yes, and says Tom Hollander is crushing it, yes. Benjamin asks, any thoughts on Shane Gillis returning to host SNL?
Oh boy,
I don't know who that is or what that means. Explain that to me.
Okay, Shane Gillis is the guy who got hired to be in the cast of the show, and then they found these old tweets that were kind of like Asian stereotype jokes and homophobic, and then they fired him. And it was like the same season that Bowen Yang was also going to be starting. He has since gone off and become like something of a bit of a darling of the right, and he's become very popular on YouTube. He had a big Netflix special, so now he's coming back to host SNL. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I haven't seen much of this guy's stand up, so I'm not going to judge it, but it seems to me like this is the game that there's a really good piece on them.us about how this is the thing that SNL does, where they'll do stuff that's progressive and they'll have like Bowen Yang and, Punky Johnson and, kind of, queer members in the ensemble, very few of them over the history of the show, but we have two or three of them at the moment, nonetheless. And then like they'll have Trump host, or they'll have Nikki Haley come on and do wacky bits with Iowa Debris. And so it's like this is typical kind of Lorne Michaels, like, trying to assuage both sides. And it's, a little unsettling.
Yeah. The Nikki Haley bit was not funny. It's like, no, this is not cute. We can't embrace this person who wants to like instate a national abortion ban. No.
Yeah, it's like let's make fun of Sarah Palin. Oh, but then we'll have her on because she's a sport and it's all adorable. And no, it's like there should be lines somewhere, I think, for if you're trying to be taken seriously as a satirical comedy show of like not sucking up to power all the time. So anyway.
That's true. You can't have it both ways. Hey, thank you so much, Paul Carl Lucas. This is your 10th super here on a live stream. That's incredibly generous of you. So thank you so much for that. He says, the world wants to know, what is the longest time Christy can talk in her Southern Belle voice? Well, sugar, I can't imagine what you're talking about. I spent 8 years in the South, 7 years in Texas, and 1 in Louisiana. And it's kind of in there, but Texas is different.
It can go for days.
Yes, I'll work on that. We'll do a whole episode where I'm just talking a Southern accent, but the muse must strike.
Hey, I grew up in Georgia and went to college in Tennessee, so I can match that.
Can you do it? Like, did you ever have an accent as a kid growing up?
No, I mean, because as Dave liked to put it, I grew up in the Spanish embassy. I was raised by immigrant parents. So like I say y'all without irony, but I don't necessarily have a Southern accent, but I have an okay ear for them.
Yes, I agree. David LeMan, hello. Thank you very much again, David. Do you guys think Elon Musk might fund a lawsuit for Roseanne Barr against ABC and others as well? Because if so, this will be a very slippery slope. I think he's a shit stirrer with money to throw around.
Yeah. I mean,
he's impulsive.
Yes, also that, and like the decision-making process, one might question. Anything is possible. We live in an era where it's impossible to satirize anything because they could just be true.
Yeah. Matthew says, I love the Betty and Joan feud, but has never had a physical release ever since that Olivia de Havilland lawsuit, even though she lost.
That might be it. And of course, obviously it's a Disney product because they bought Fox. And so like, I don't know, it is still on Hulu, but you're right. They've not released a physical yet. Speaking of physical media, I don't know if you saw about this, Christy, apparently Crunchyroll has taken over another company called Funimation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you owned digital copies of Funimation movies, too bad. Like the Crunchyroll sent out an email basically saying that you can no longer access them, and oh well. So yeah, again, physical media, y'all. That's the only way. If you really want to own a thing, if you want to be able to go back and watch a film and a TV show, just buying it on like Amazon or something, there's always the fine print where they can be like, yeah, no, snatch, you can't have it anymore.
I find too, I try to go back and look up old reviews I've written sometimes. Like I'll just Google my name and the name of a movie and like they're gone.
Entire websites that I used to write for have just vanished into the ether.
Mayor of Earth points out it wasn't old tweets with Shane Gillis. It was old podcast clips. He's still doing right-wing podcasts, slagging off on minorities while doing more mainstream comedy.
Okay,
that's a tricky needle to thread.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for that. And Teddy points out Lorne Michaels prizes ratings above all things. Hey, Danny McKetto's here. Any thoughts on the casting of Leonardo DiCaprio in the new Paul Thomas Anderson film that recently started filming in Sacramento? That sounds cool.
Sure. Yeah, I was very excited that Regina Hall got cast as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Angel says I must be getting old because I don't find SNL that funny anymore.
I kind of go through peaks and valleys with that show. I think a lot of it has to do with who the writers are and who the cast is. I haven't really been watching that much this season. A lot of people that I liked on the show before have left, and it's become the kind of thing where like when you hear about a sketch, you just watch it on YouTube. Like I did watch the Dune popcorn bucket sketch that they did with Io Debris, but I have not gone back and watched the entire Io Debris episode.
Yeah.
Something like Big Dumb Cups will become, will go viral, but I don't feel the need to sit through the whole thing anymore.
Yes. Brent is smart and says he saves all his print reviews as JPEGs.
That is smart. Yeah. I wish I'd been doing that.
Yes. Anyway, couple little corrections I want to do. We love corrections. I really enjoy doing corrections because you guys are on it and you keep us honest. So, for example, in our review of The Greatest Night in Pop, I said that Daryl Hall was there and not John Oates. That is not true.
Okay.
John Oates was there. He just didn't get a solo. Which is on brand, right?
Yeah,
He's there, but we forgot he was there.
Once again.
So John Oates was there. Also, I didn't mention in the description of it that actually Harry Belafonte is the reason that this happened. He had the idea originally. And brought it to Lionel Richie and Quincy Jones, and they're the ones who then ran with it. And there's that cool moment in the documentary where they all bust out into singing Deo.
Yes, the Banana Boat song.
Yes, very cute. At a moment where they all needed to kind of like break the tension, and they were all tired. And many of you suggested that perhaps it's not Coffee Brothers coffee that kept them awake all night in the 80s, but some other stimulants that are helpful to keep your energy high.
Who can say? We weren't there.
Also, in our review of Argyle, we said that $200 million was the budget on the film. And apparently that is the amount of money that Apple paid to acquire it.
Nonetheless.
Which is totally stupid.
Still poorly spent.
David, thank you again so much. He says, I've been watching Capote versus the Swans, and it's okay, but the story of Truman Capote and Babe Paley isn't dived into as much as it should be. Tom Hollander is the only interesting thing about the show. Have you watched this week's episode yet? Because I think that she's particularly great, Naomi Watts, and gets to show a lot of shading as far as who Babe Paley is.
Yeah. And as I pointed out after the first 2 episodes, which dropped originally, like the show is jumping backward and forward in time so much that they pretty much already laid out the entire story as it goes in terms of like befriending them through the betrayal of them. And so now I think the show's going to go back and fill in the blanks. So it's quite possible we'll get much more of their relationship, which we certainly do this week, and we'll continue to do so as the series continues.
Indeed. No, it's really good. Like I love this most recent one for sure. We got to go in a sec, but wanted to just touch base real fast and tell you about what's coming up next week. We're going to have reviews of Madam Web and Crossroads. Britney Spears' Crossroads is going to be on Netflix streaming for the first time ever. And so we're going to go back and revisit Crossroads with fresh eyes.
Yes.
20-something years later.
It's been a while.
So we're going to go back and rewatch that. And then also we're going to talk about the new J-Lo movie, This Is Me, ... Now. We love a movie with punctuation. So that will be streaming on Prime Video. And unlike the Taylor movie and the Beyonce movie, this is like a narrative feature exploring the themes of Jennifer Lopez's life. So,
Okay, bring it.
yeah, so we'll talk about that as well. So have a great weekend. Enjoy the
Yes.
Super Bowl. Enjoy the performances and the ads. And we are enjoying doing news live with you guys so much. It's been so much fun to have a little check-in with you. So we'll do it again every Friday for the rest of our lives, quite possibly.
Thanks for being here. We'll see y'all next time.